Welcome everyone to December 2023's Spiritual Questions Answered with CordyKet. And tonight, the question or the topic that I'm about to address is about using white light. Right? Using white light. So, first of all, any one of you actually use white light? Do you all know what I'm talking about? So when I say use white light or using white light, I'm not referring. Okay, let's be clear. I'm not referring to physical light, right? The lights that we see. I'm referring to some other light. Generally, it's like invisible light, and this is the kind of light that people will use for energy work. All right, energy work such as energy healing, maybe. All right. So let me be clear. It's not the physical light, the visible light. Okay. I'm not referring to visible light. All right. It's an invisible light. It's invisible, right? And most people would use this type of white light in energy work, right? E for energy. So it can be for energy healing, energy protection, or any form of energy work. All right? Any form of energy work. Just to ask everyone who's present, anyone here have used this in your work? All right, as in energy work, white light. Anybody care to share? You all know what I'm talking about, using white light. So now this is very common. A lot of people use it for example, I was saying energy healing. So if you have learned energy healing stuff like maybe Reiki, pranic healing, some form of energy healing, colors will be taught, all right? And one of the colors that people will say to use is white light. In protection, it's quite common. People will say use white light for protection. I'm not sure whether you have heard of it. All right. So, for example, some people the way they will do it is for protection. This is a person, and what kind of protection from what? Usually, this is used in a spiritual kind of context. Right? All this is could be also in spiritual context for spiritual reasons, right? That means dealing with evil spirits, that kind of thing. All right. So a very common thing people would do is they will surround themselves with white light. So maybe in a bubble of white light or in a ball of white light. And another thing that's very common for people to do is connect to white light. All right. So this thing, so this is the person, and this thing here they connect to. Maybe I should use a different color. All right. Let the red color represent the light. All right, and white light. So a lot of people use white light, and this is some kind of a context. So for some people who are doing energy healing, maybe they are sending white light out their hands, right? They send white light out their hands, right? Sending out for healing. Maybe they want to heal another person, right? So they send white light. So the red is supposed to represent the white. Okay, so these are general instances where it can be used. Okay, if you all have any questions, please feel free to type in the chat box. I'll take a look at it. And I'm here today to talk specifically about using white light because it's one of the most common, right? that is in use, especially for spiritual work, right? Spiritual healing, spiritual protection, people who deal with evil spirits. And those of you who know us, we a large part of the energy work that we do is helping people deal with evil spirits, black magic, that kind of thing. So overall, understand this is generally how some of the contexts where white light is used. Now, I'm conducting this talk because I encounter a lot of clients who use white light. I mean, those are usually the people who are not our students. So we actually train people. We have our own infinity healing modality whereby we train people. And I find that the knowledge about using white light that is out there is not good enough. So, and there are a lot of people who ask me. So I thought this is a good video to do a talk on. All right, this is a good topic to do a talk on. So this is the context now. The first thing I would like to ask everyone is this, right? So usually white light is used for all these purposes, right? My big question is, why is it that people choose white? A lot of times people choose white, yeah? So why is it that people choose white? So my question is, why white is chosen? Especially when people want to fight against evil spirits. Usually, a lot of people will tell, draw upon the white light. So some people say, draw upon white light, let it come into you from above. They imagine like maybe heaven is above, draw white light into you, surround yourself with white light. And the question is, why white color? What does white imply? What does white color imply? Anyone? Feel free to type in the chat box. So usually white implies certain properties. Good. So Evan says that. So it implies pure. Good. Evan says pure. Anyone else? Anyone else? Especially when we are using it in a spiritual context, right? Dealing with evil spirits and black magic, that kind of thing. Dealing with the dark forces, a lot of people will use white. And I would like to address question. Anyone else? All right, not tainted. Pure, not tainted. Anyone else? What does white color imply? So usually we are using it, right? We're using it, first of all, is versus. Usually, typically, a lot of people, evil spirits, right? Or negative energies. Dark energies, correct? This is usually why people will turn to use white light in energy work or spiritual work context, because white implies that it's pure, it's not tainted, it is the opposite of dark, right? Dark energies. Again says it implies love. How about this? It implies goodness, right? How many of you agree? Because so usually white, especially in this spiritual context, we are using it to fight evil, all right? Using it to protect against evil and so on and so forth. So white is assumed, all right? It implies or we assume the white light that we're going to use, right, will be not evil. That means will be good, of goodness, all right? So it's not dark. White is not dark, right? So it is of opposite of dark. It is pure, not tainted love. Alright, so goodness. Now, this is a very important. Alright, this is very important. So, people use white light because people make assumptions, or usually I would say, white implies these, and at the same time, people make the assumption that white light will be pure, it's not tainted, it's opposite of dark, it's of love, it's of goodness. Am I not right? Yeah? Now, can I ask you all a question? When you take a person for example, people, does it mean that a white is a good person? All whites are good person. People of fair skin are all pure. Does it mean that people who are fair skinned, very pale, very white, right? They are not tainted, they are not dark, they are of love and they are of goodness. Can I ask you the question? Does it mean that a person who is fair skinned or a person who wears white, if I wear white, does it mean that I'm necessarily of all this? Edwin says no. And conversely, does it mean that someone who wears black or someone who is of dark skin is evil, is bad? Do you get where I'm going? What do I imply? Now this is very important because depending on how you use white light and how much you've used white light, I dare say this, all right? Most people, all right, if you're using it in the spiritual and energy context, when you're dealing with low-level entities, using white light is a straightforward business. It's a straightforward business, all right? But as you deal with more and more powerful entities, you will notice that maybe when you use white light, it's not going to be so straightforward. You'll find that maybe white light doesn't work. And the question is why? I have had many people, so in the line of work that we do, we help people deal with evil spirits and black magic, that kind of thing. So we do help clients or people who they themselves have knowledge about spiritual work, who have knowledge about energy healing, and they themselves have been using white lights and all kinds of things. All right, and they're always very surprised, And some people will even comment, they say that, Kat, I can see that you're using the energy that's coming from you is white, and I am using the color white too. I am using white light. I can see, there's white light coming from you. You're using it to deal with, the evil forces, evil spirits, and so on. But they ask, why is it that your white light works and my white light doesn't work? This is where the important part is. Most people, when they do their white light, all right, most people, when they do their white light, it is implied or they assume they, they assume that everything is going well. Hang on, just let me pause the recording for a while. Okay, sorry about that short interruption. So back to the topic. So people ask, so those clients will ask me, hey, Kat, your white light works, and why is it that mine doesn't work? Now the answer lies over here, right? Most people, when they use white light, they assume this. They assume that their white light will be pure, will be not tainted, will be opposite of dark, will have goodness, will be of love. I do not assume. All right. When we do the work, for us, those of us who are immunity trained, we do not assume. We do not assume this. In fact, what we do is we have to ensure. We need to make sure that the white light that we use will have these qualities. All right. So in case everyone doesn't get me, now when we use white light and we assume that the white light will have all these qualities, it is not. You can't guarantee it, and it's not the right thing to do now. Especially, let me give you a context. Now, a lot of people I find out they get into trouble in this scenario, right? This scenario is where they get into trouble. Now, what kind of trouble do they get into? A lot of people will know, will want to have more energy for their energy work, for their light work, whatever. And one of the things that they do is they connect and they draw upon white light. So they want the white light to come down upon them. The problem is this, right? When they are drawing this white light, they just assume that the white light is pure, is not tainted, is it's not dark, it's of love, it's of goodness, and they take it in. But remember, it doesn't mean that just because someone is wearing white or someone has very fair skin, it doesn't mean that person is good. It doesn't mean that person is pure. Same thing with the white light. So, some of them, they encounter evil spirits that are very powerful. The evil spirits are so powerful that color doesn't matter to them. They can, so some people, what they end up doing is, when they draw white lights, the evil spirits take advantage, right? Because the person assumes that the white light is going to be something that is good. The evil spirit sends white light that is not good. White light that is not good, that is not pure, right? That has negative energies in it, and they get affected. This is something that happens. So some of these clients, they will, when they ask me what went wrong, I normally identify this, because in their practices, they say they draw upon white light to do healing, to do protection. And when I ask them how they do it, they just say, oh, white light, just white light. And then I know what went wrong. So what went wrong was because they made the assumption. They did not ensure that the white light that is coming down is of these properties. All right. So I'm going to share with everyone how to actually use white light the right way. The right way. Do not make this same mistake. So same mistake. So a lot of people will do this. So for example, this is a context. Drawing down white lights is one of the ways that people use. So another common way of using the white light is they will create a white light surrounded themselves, right, in a bubble of white light or in a ball of white light. Alright, and they are trying to protect themselves from evil spirits. Again, they're trying to protect themselves from evil spirits. And like what I was saying, when you're dealing with evil spirits that are of low level, it is all fine when you're using white. And then these people, they discover that, hey, it doesn't work when for certain evil spirits that are really powerful. Or they were surprised that it works for most. And then some evil spirits, even though they use the white light for protection, it doesn't work, and the spirit can still attack them. Okay? So that is for protection, right? The assumption that they make. This is because they assume that the white light will be of these properties and will be able to keep the evil spirits away. The other thing that some healers, energy healers, they may experience is, so they're sending, they're using white light, and they should assume, right, the white light has all these properties, and they send a white light to their client or their patient, and the client or patient starts feeling very sick or something like that, or things get worse. And if the patient is someone who is very energy sensitive or who can really give feedback, all right, because a lot of people, they cannot sense energies, but this person, if this person know their stuff, they will be able to tell that this light, while it may look white, it is not pure and it is not of goodness. All right, it is possible to do that. So the main mistake, all right, let me tell everyone, is people assume this. So what is the right way to use white light? Again, we go back to the assumptions. What we need to do is we need to ensure. So for those people who are using your white light, you need to make sure, right, you've got to be very clear, you are not just using white light. You need to be sure that the white light they're using must have these properties. They are pure, they're not tainted, they are opposite of dark, they are of love, of goodness. And I would like to replace or add to the word love here. They are of good values or positive, all right? Positive values. They need to be of positive value. So love is a positive value. So as long as you're drawing light, so white light, you need to make sure that the white light, right, is of positive values. It need not just be love, it can be truth, it can be peace, it can be harmony. Anything that's positive, that is not, that is not of the negative, that is opposite to the negative energies that you are trying to fight with or that you're trying to deal with. All right, it must be a positive values, right? You all can get it. Love, kindness, compassion, truth, honor, integrity, wisdom, peace, harmony. All those are positive values. All right, so you need to make sure that if you are energy worker or healer and you're using white light, you need to ensure all these. But this is not an easy thing to do. This is not an easy thing to do. All right, so some people I've encountered. So again, in my line of work, I was explaining. So it maybe those healers, so they ask me what went wrong, and I tell them this. They assumed and say, no, 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 okay, I get what you mean. I didn't assume, and I tried to do this. All right, and then still it didn't work. Now, how can we ensure? So they try to do this. So what we need to do is we need to ensure. So a lot of people will try to do it. When you use white light, you need to make sure you don't assume. You need to make sure that the white light you're using must be of all this. And in order for you to do that, your own self, you yourself must be capable of this. The more you're capable of these properties, the more you're able to do so. So we are talking about, in our line of work, is I will tell my students, you need to, first of all, your cultivation or your character is very important, and your preparation. What do I mean by that? Now, so when the person want to use the white light, all right, so you want to ensure that the white light that you're using. So what I mean by that, for example, if this is the person want to generate white light that are of these properties, that are pure, of love, of goodness, not dark and everything, right? Or the person is trying to draw the white light or trying to send the white light, right? The person who's doing it is is the one that's generating this white light. Let me ask you a question. If the person is not a good person, if the person is not of love, is full of anger and hatred and unforgiveness, do you think they can generate white light that has these properties? All right, Evan says can't. Do you get what I mean? It is very important for the person who want to use the white light, who want to generate it, your cultivation, your character as a person must be able to generate this. You must be of a certain level. So no doubt, you can visualize. So a lot of people can visualize, imagine, or and they can see that the light is white. But you will not be able to ensure without your personal cultivation and character. If you're of anger or hatred, if you're of unforgiveness, you will very likely find that you can't do it. You can't generate this white light that has these properties. And if the white light doesn't have these properties, it will not be able to deal with evil spirits or negative energies effectively. It can't. All right. So the cultivation and the character of the person is very important. The next thing is preparation. So let's say the person who wants to draw white light, they are working on their character, they are working on their personal cultivation. Yeah. So, and they are of a reasonable level of goodness, of positive values, and quite pure as a person. All right. So how much of this quality will depend a lot on the character of this person. Now, the next thing that is important, right? So this is something that you do every day. So the cultivation and character is something that you do every day. This is something, is who you are every day. Preparation is, before you use the white light, right? You do energy work. Before you do energy work. So before you do energy work, before you use the white light, you should prepare yourself. So for most people, our cultivation and character does not meet the highest end of these qualities. Yes? Now, we try our best every day, but sometimes, we still get angry. Sometimes we still have fear. Sometimes, we still don't like certain people. So we are not quite pure, right? So it's not good enough to generate. Now, so we work on this every day, but when we want to do energy work, we can have a way to overcome, right? To overcome our shortcomings, our daily shortcomings, by being very serious during our preparation phase. Before we do the energy work, what we can do is we can prepare ourselves. So, so normally, for those of us who are in Infinity, preparation will involve the most basic is the person will need to do some unity qigong, some light meditation, some non-attachment meditation, all right, to prepare All right, and why is this important? All right, so those people who are familiar with Unity Qigong will release negative energies. Unity Qigong will release negative energies from the practitioner and take in positive energies. So it goes into bringing in positive energies, right, and releasing negative energies from the practitioner so that they can use the kind of energy that is more pure, that's more in accordance with the white light. And the second thing, it will be light meditation. Light meditation is actually very important for people who want to use light. So in our light meditation, what we learn to do is we learn to strengthen, all right? So all of us have an inner pure light, all right? We call it the pure light of goodness. So in light meditation, the practice, right, will strengthen the pure light of goodness in a person that will allow them to use white light, all right, that are of, for example, we are strengthening pure light of goodness, so it will be pure, it will be of light, opposite of dark, and it will be of goodness. All right, we will purposely strengthening the pure light of goodness in people who practice light meditation. And then typically the next thing that we do is we will go into non-attachment meditation. So in non-attachment meditation, what people will do is they will let go. All right, they will let go of their attachments. So our attachments typically cause us to become negative. It is our attachments that cause us to be not pure. Do you understand? Right? Attachments make us impure because we may be very attached. For example, some people may be very attached to violence, attached to certain kind of, like certain type of violent sex. They enjoy sex, but they would like to do sex in a certain way that is maybe not very positive, and it's an attachment they are not able to let go. All right, so what we do in non-attachment meditation is during the meditation, the person temporarily let go, temporarily, all right, of the attachments of things. It could be things that make people angry, fearful, negative. Okay, as long as there's something like that, all right, we let go, right? We do not be attached. And by doing so, if we do our preparation properly, the person will be able to shift their own energy. They'll be able to shift their own energy such that when they use the white light, right, it will have all these qualities, the qualities that was implied by the color white, the qualities that they assume, but we don't do that, we don't assume, we ensure, and we make sure that when we call upon the white light, we make sure we insist, we want to ensure, we insist that the white light that we're using is pure, for example, is pure, is of light, is of goodness, is of positive values. We want to make sure of that. All right, and what we need to do, this is very important, is our everyday cultivation and the preparation work that we do. All right, so we don't assume, and when you're able to do that, the white light that you use will be effective. All right, because you're no longer assuming, you are ensuring that it is so. And how you can use it, so these are the three standard ways of using it. So once you practice your everyday cultivation, work on your character, before you do the work, you got to do some preparation. So for all these people, for the way we do it is we do Unity Qigong, light meditation, and non-attachment meditation. But you'll get the idea. The main idea is to release negative energies. Make sure your energies are as positive as possible. All right. So we have our practices with Unity Qigong, light meditation, And non-attachment meditation is also to help us to shift our character just for that moment, just for that 1-2 hours. We let go of all our not so good traits, so we can shift our energy. Now these are our practices, and if you have your own practices, you can do whichever practices, as long as it meets this purpose to help you reach this state. So for some people who are religious, they will do religious method. They may do some mantra chanting, some prayers. That is fine also. Okay, or you can meditate about all these properties to shift yourself. So this is important. All right, you shouldn't be trying to use white lights when you're you're angry. You just had a fight with your family member or your other half, and then you're all boiling over, and you try to generate the white light. Yes, the light will be white, but the properties will not have all these properties. Okay, so these are about all the most important things that I want to say, and I'll be taking a look at some of the questions and comments that some of you have made. So Edwin is asking, how many other lights besides white light? So there are many different colors that people can use. All right, and I will always tell those students that are with us is in Infinity. I will teach the colors. All right, and normally I teach it in Infinity Module 3. Module 3 and 4, we will touch into colors. But what is most important is actually not so much the colors. All right, colors do have their properties, but for people who are dealing with evil spirits and dark forces, it no longer is about the property of the color. All right, it's the same thing as I was trying to say. Right, it doesn't mean someone who's fair skinned is someone that is pure, and someone and there are no whites in prison, because they're all good people, right? And all black people need to go to prison. No, it's not like that. All right, it's not the color but the properties. So we want to make sure the properties are being ensured when we use white light. So there are other colors, but my point is going to be this: the important thing is not the color. The important thing are the properties that were originally implied by the color that most people assume is going to be like that. So Evan, again, can we say when we spin rainbow colors like rapidly, we get white light, and this is called white light as well? Yes, same thing. All right, so in physics you will learn the rainbow colors, right? Rainbow colors come from white light splitting into 7 colors. And similarly, if you take 7 colors and you spin, it will fast enough, it will also form white light. So white light can be broken down into 7 colors, right? The rainbow colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Similarly, 7 colors you combine, it can give you white color. Okay, so the colors work that way, even in energy work. But again, my point is this: it is not the colors that are important when you're dealing with all these evil spirits and dark energies or negative energies. It is the properties. Okay, and let me see. Edwin is most of the time. So compromised white light absorbed by dark entity. So I think Edwin was referring to this. So one has to be very careful when we are drawing all this white light or protecting ourselves with white light. Now, let me be clear. Okay, at the end of the day, when we're dealing with negative energies and evil spirits, it is not the color white that is important. Okay, and it is all this. In fact, when I am doing my energy work, I sometimes do not even use the term white when I'm generating my energies. I don't care about the color. All right, I only mention what is all this. What is all this? I only make sure my energies are of this, and I never even insist on the color white. And yet, because these conditions are there, some people will be able to see that the energy that I'm using is white in color. And sometimes it's not even white in color. Sometimes it can be highest that are beyond white color. There are even higher level than white color. All right, and sometimes it can be other types of colors which are also positive as long as bright and as long it has these qualities. For example, a lot of people will have seen me when I'm doing healing work that my energy is green. All right, green is the color of healing, and if those of you are into all this spiritual stuff or energy work, you would have encountered it. Right, green is the color of healing, and a lot of people see that when I'm doing healing work, my light that's coming from me is green. But it doesn't mean that I purposely insisted that I want green color or green light. I don't. All right, and some people will be able to see me. My aura may be green when I'm doing healing work. It just means that I am in that phase or in that having that kind of healing intention and energies around me. So the so-called light that I send, all right, it will be of purity and everything, and you have some green color to it. Okay, so with that, we have more or less covered what is needed to share with you all. Any questions? Evan is saying or asking, preparation can be skipped if one is experienced and does not have negative energies. Yes, preparation can be skipped if one is really but I have not really encountered a person who is of that level in person, or even I don't know of any person who can do that. Theoretically, if someone whose character and cultivation is really of a very high level, yes, they will not need to prepare themselves. Theoretically. But from what I know, practically everyone that is doing energy work that I know, or even if they don't do energy work, they are spiritual people, right? They need to prepare themselves, right? Monks, they will do, they will go into chanting. Some people will do prayers and everything. So there are not many people whereby they don't have negative energies and that they don't have attachments with them, right? So even very high level spiritual people, they can still get angry, they can still get upset, right? And no one is perfect. So the idea is, if you're very serious about energy work, well, at least this is for the way we do it, all right? The way CordyKet and the way we teach it in Infinity and for our students, we always recommend people to do the preparation, spend time to do the preparation, because working on our everyday cultivation and character is really tough. Who here doesn't get upset? Sometimes when we get, often we get upset because there are some things that we cannot accept, things that inconvenience us, and we will get upset for a while. All right, and when we are feeling better or the issue has passed, we are not thinking about it, and then we are okay. Our energies are okay. But deep within, we have the seeds of darkness, or we have attachments and issues that within us that cause our energies not to be quite pure. So everything also depends on your level of opposition. So if you're dealing with low level entities, your preparation probably does not have to be that high level or of that high quality. If you're really dealing with something that's very, very, very powerful, all right, that's very powerful, you find that, yeah, you will need your preparation. And, so this preparation, we have talked about all those practices, but what do people do in the good old days? People do in the good old days, people even do fasting and prayers for days. Right? Have you heard of people, right, who do for special occasions, or if they need to fight evil spirits, if I'm not wrong, there's this particular verse in the Bible whereby, you know, whereby Jesus was asked by disciples because his disciples and Jesus, they were trying to exorcise a demon, and the disciples couldn't do it, and they required Jesus to do it. And at the end of it, they asked Jesus. This is as I remember it. I can't say I recall it very well. They asked Jesus. So they asked Jesus, Jesus, why is it that the demon was so difficult to cast out? And Jesus said, look, for that particular demon, need to do fasting and prayers. All right. If you all, I'm not sure whether you all have encountered. All right, it's actually mentioned in the Bible. So for this preparation, I'm referring to the way we do it. Typically, is before we do energy work. So normally, I recommend for those who are learning from us to spend about 1 hour. But for in the good old days, some people they go into days of prayers and fasting. All right. For example, fasting. A lot of people eat meat, and meat has a lot of negative energies, right? Or you drink alcohol, or those people who are Muslims, Muslims do their prayers and fasting during the month of Ramadan. They also have to abstain from sex and all actions that are not of purity. They need to try and be as pure as possible. So it's the same thing, the same idea. Okay, so for us, we do it before we do the work, but in some cases, it may be necessary to do more. So Ngoni is asking, if someone is channeling, how can they ensure they're working with a being of pure light? That's a very good question by Ngoni. It's not easy. So there'll be people who draw upon white light, or they try to connect with entities, all right, and they will try to use this white light as protection and all this. Now, how to ensure that they are working with a being of pure light? The actual answer is, first of all, there need to be a lot of training. Okay, you need to train. So, what do you need to train? You need to train. First of all, you need to train to recognize and discern or differentiate, all right, good versus bad energies. So there's a lot of training. So in Unity, the very basic training is be familiar, use Unity, Qigong, light meditation, non-attachment meditation. The more you do these practices, the more you are accustomed to what is known as good energies, positive energies, and the more you know what is bad and that's not good for you. So you need to train to recognize. And in Unity, all right, in our practice, we encourage people, you need to learn to do energy reading. You need to be able to read, and basically energy reading is to help you do this. So a lot of people, they are not able to do this, and the most basic is you need to read the energy, and where possible, you even need to read the intentions of the spirit that they are channeling. So there's a lot of training, and it's not easy. So the excuse me. So if the evil spirit is of very high level, their ability to pretend to be a good spirit is higher. They can masquerade as of light. They can appear to be white. And if your cultivation is not quite there, you will never be able to discern and to protect yourself from very high level entities. So the short answer is you need training. All right. So once you train and you familiarize yourself with all these good energies, you are able to discern, then you can really tell. John is asking, so as we get upset, angry, and agitated, we just allow ourselves to let it go. This is the part where non-attachment comes in, right? The more we get non-attachment, faster we can release these negative emotions and bring us back to the state of equilibrium. Yes. So the idea is this. All right, we all are human and we all have emotions and we all have attachments that will cause us to react. So in our practice, right, and in it's not just our practice, in many spiritual practice, right, people spiritual practice is encouraged for the practitioner, religious people, and spiritual people to be not attached to as much things as possible. You don't want to be attached to a lot of things. You don't want to be attached to money. You don't want to be attached to sex. You don't want to be attached to your emotions. You don't want to be attached to your physical senses, right? Pleasures of the flesh, right? You can still be human and you enjoy, but you don't want to be attached. All right. So, and if should you get into a situation whereby you are negative or you're affected by attachments, then you need to learn to let go. So yes, John, you are right. Okay, so those of you who are interested to learn about all this, you can attend our Unity Qigong Light meditation and non-attachment sessions that we conduct every month. All right, it's all on free and donation basis, same as this. And Edwin again. Any quick assessment test to check one is prepared before using white light, since some are imperfect. Now, again, you know, this quick check or assessment is something that people need to train to do. So the problem is this. If you are the one preparing yourself and you are the one trying to assess yourself and your level of training and expertise is very low, then there's no way you can do self-assessment. You need someone else to assess for you. Do you get what I mean? If you're trying to assess yourself, you know, some people you can bluff yourself. You can just insist, oh, I'm there. And you have no way of comparison because you don't have enough training or expertise or knowledge. So normally when people first start out, you need guidance and you need people to kind of tell you where you are. Now, the most basic thing for people to try and do self-assessment is you need to go and do, as far as I know, all right, the best thing, all right, is you need to have some basics of meditation whereby you can reach states that you know that you're all good, that you're all pure, you're all of goodness, and you're all of light. If you can do that. And for us, we have our meditative practices of light meditation and non-meditation to train people in that respect. So if you have your own other practices that can also accomplish the same, then yes, you can assess yourself. All right? Otherwise, you know, you probably, otherwise you probably need some other people to assess you. So until, I dare say until now, right, even my seniors, our senior students and disciples, if they're not sure, they still need to check with us, right? Especially if they're dealing with very powerful evil spirits and entities. So very high level entities, they can really get you. They can really pretend to be of light. Okay. Any other questions? So I mean, say the key is to purify the mind. Now it's not just purify the mind. You need to purify your body too. All right, that is why, you know, people who are very serious on the spiritual path, you know, eventually they look at their diet, the way they live, right? The food they consume, what they drink, how they take care of their body, and also in terms of purifying the mind is also what you consume mentally, right? So, you know, for example, they will watch less porn, right? Engage in less activities that you know that are not pure. So these are things that if someone is very serious on the path of cultivation, right, of light, of goodness, then it should be it shouldn't be difficult because there's a lot, you know, everyone understands what is light, what is purity, what is goodness, right? It's just that it's just a matter of whether people want to devote themselves and how far they want to go. Okay. All right. Any other last minute questions? I hope I managed to answer your questions. Edwin asked, a sick person is not qualified. No, it's not to say a sick person is not qualified. Now, what do I mean by the body? All right, so of course, healthy body it will be good, but for some people, right, if you want to ensure your energies are of all these, now for some people, their body is not pure, right? And many spiritual people understand that. What do you mean? So, for example, if they have been having a lot of sex and the sex is violent sex, demeaning sex, when you have sex, you want the partner to suffer, to have pain, or to be subjugated. Do you get what I mean? To be enslaved, the BDSM kind of sex. So the body will have all this sexual energy which is not of purity. Or the body is, this person go on a meat eating binge, all right, and is eating a lot of meat whereby the animals were cruelly slaughtered, or when they were farmed, the animals suffered a lot of depression because they were locked up. So there will be a lot of depression, negative energies in the meat that the person eats, and so the body will acquire all these energies. So a lot of the traditional practices know about the effects, and they notice, right, when people go vegetarian, when people eat less meat, when people start to um, purify their mind in terms of sex, the things that they do, right, sexually, physically, that way, and the way they use the body, right. So if they're serious about, like some people, they have their religious occasions, then they will need to do like fasting, right? And sometimes they do 1 month, like the Muslims, they do 1 month. In the 1 month, they normally say they don't have sex, they don't even have sex. They need to do fasting, and they need to try and watch the way they use their words, their mouth, right? The Christians have 40 days of Lent, whereby they also try to do similar, right? Buddhists also, so all kinds of traditional religions, normally they understand this. So they understand the purification, right, of mind and body is very important, and so how you take care of yourself physically, it will affect your energies, and whether their religious ceremonies will be successful or will be of a high level. Some people will be able to know, because some people who are of purity, they will be able to sense. All right, welcome. Any other last minute questions before we call it a night? All right, if not, then thank you everyone for having me. I hope I managed to shed some light about how to use white light. And the summary is, it's not, the most important thing is not the color, it's the properties of the light. Okay, so make sure you have the properties, and work on self-cultivation and preparation if you want to use white light or this type of pure properties, pure light of goodness. All right. So thank you for having me, and I hope to see you all again. For those of you interested, tomorrow night we will be having Unity Qigong, same time, 9 p.m. Okay. So I hope to see everyone again, and if you feel that you've benefited, please do consider making a donation to support our free and donation basis activities. If you can't afford it, it's free for you. Okay, see you all again. Thank you. Have a good day, good night, and goodbye. Welcome.